Mr. Chair, that's exactly right. We're working with our school boards and our independent schools to have them do some of this monitoring on their own, and then we'll work with them if they find any rooms where there's perhaps inadequate ventilation where we need to maybe take a closer look.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Butters. Now, as promised, I'm going to Councillor Gale for a different item. Go ahead.
Yeah, a different item. Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask about audits. As we learned from local media reports, the homelessness audit was not reported back to the audit committee. This was eventually resolved last week at Public Health. However, it is alleged another audit, this time related to waste management, was also not reported back to the audit committee. So I'd like to ask two things by way of direction. Number one, report back to Public Works on this waste management audit. And number two, for the audit function, I'd like an organizational chart depicting roles and responsibilities and the structure and budget of the audit team moving forward, especially since our only auditor resigned 3 weeks ago. I would also like a report on the option of introducing an office of the internal auditor reporting directly to council, as occurring in other municipal jurisdictions, and for these items to be brought to this next scheduled audit committee. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. CAO, you have a response?
Thank you, Chair. I heard two different things. I heard a referral to Public Works Committee, but in fact, most, if not all, of what the councillor referenced is being worked on now to go to the next audit committee, which is February the 14th. So we are going to articulate organizational information and the chronology of all the decisions made that got us to where we are. Perhaps once the audit committee and council has received that information, we can consider any next steps or different direction. But that as an option would be a reconsideration of a decision of this council early in the term.
So thank you for that. So you're going through for next steps on how to run an audit team here? Is that more or less it?
CAO.
Through you, Chair, that's not what the current report is looking at. It's going to describe the chronology of how we got to where we are, which is not what the council is asking for. It was the recommendation approved by this council to actually disband or go in a different direction. Basically, the manager of audit and retain external third-party audit firms to do the audit function. That was a decision of this council.
Okay, so the part that you said was a decision of this council was introducing an office of the internal audit report auditor. Is that correct?
CAO.
Through you, Chair, it was to approve a structure that had a manager of audit function that worked directly with audit committee, and the actual work would be retained with external consultants.
Okay, thank you. But the part I've got about the roles and responsibilities and the structure and budget of the audit team moving forward is in line with what you can provide. Is that correct?
Yes, we will provide all that detail in terms of what played out, yes.
Okay, we'll go with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gale. Councillor Whalen is next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, you made mention earlier this evening about the vaccinations and the vaccine clinics. Just want to let everybody here know tonight that there is a clinic tomorrow in Thorold from 10 to 6 at the Holy Rosary Hall on the corner of Queen and Sullivan Avenue. It's by walk-in only, so you don't need an appointment, so we fill it up, all the better. Thank you.
Thank you for letting us know that, reminding us of that. It's very valuable for people because they do ask the question, first of all, is there a site for vaccination? The second question I'll ask is, do you need an appointment? And you have pointed out where it is, what time it is, and the fact that it's a walk-in. You don't have to have an appointment. So thank you very much. I don't know if Dr. Hirji has anything to add to that, but that's helpful information from Councillor Whalen.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have nothing further to add to that. That's not a clinic organized by Public Health, but we're very thankful for the many partners across the community who continue to organize additional clinics and make sure there's lots of access to vaccination.
Very good. Councillor Greenwood.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I know this has been mentioned throughout the meeting, both in your remarks at the beginning of the meeting and through our public health. But I want to thank all our first responders, fire department, police, and EMS for the help that they gave us on Monday and Tuesday through the snowstorm. And I was shocked to look out my front window on Monday evening to see a St. Catharines Fire Department truck come down my street and pick up my neighbor who's a nurse at the St. Catharines Hospital. And it was just, I thought, oh my gosh. So thank you very much, Councillor Senzik, for sending the fire department down to Niagara Falls. Shows how well we all work together, and all went well. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Councillor Greenwood. That's a good news story right there. Thank you. Now we go to item number 15, which is closed session. Do any members wish to go into closed session to discuss confidential item CLC 13-2022? No request for that. So I now go to 15.1, clerk. Go right to 16. Okay, this makes it easier for us. Business arising from the closed session. As the mover and seconder for the closed session item, the business arising from it. And I'll look at the screen and say it's Councillor Houston is moving it. And I'm looking for a seconder now, and that's going to be Councillor Steele. So I'm supposed to call the question now. I call the question. Would you vote electronically? The motion is carried. Bylaws are next. Oh, the clerk is going to tell us something first.
There's just the two bylaws, Chair, based on the discussion regarding CLC 11.
Okay. As a mover and seconder for the bylaws. I see Councillor Salepa with his hand up, and I see Councillor, I'm going to say Councillor Greenwood seconding it. Any discussion? If not, I'll ask you to vote electronically. The clerk informs me the motion is carried. We have reached the end of our business. I want to thank again all members of council for your participation electronically. I want to thank our technical staff who guide us through this system of Zoom meetings, and all staff, and I wish all of you the very best as we go into our new year. And there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
Take care.